As the seasons change, so too must our gardens. Today, we're breathing fresh life into the landscape by swapping out the evergreens in the Hartley pots and installing a stunning large Austrian pine. It's all about embracing the beauty of transition, letting go of the old, and welcoming in the new. Gardens are living canvases, constantly evolving, and each alteration offers an opportunity to highlight different aspects of nature's artistry. Refreshing the Hartley pots have been steadfast fixtures in the garden, beautifully framing the landscape and offering visual interest throughout the seasons. Filled with evergreens, they've provided a lush, steady backdrop of greenery, effortlessly enhancing the overall composition. But as we move towards the cooler months, it's time to refresh the look and invigorate these pots with something a bit more dynamic. Swapping out the existing evergreens isn't merely about changing the look, it's about setting the stage for the garden's next chapter. We'll be carefully selecting new plants that bring both structure and seasonal charm to the pots. Our choices will be guided by a desire to introduce textures and tones that reflect the time of year, embracing deep greens, silvery blues, and perhaps a touch of earthy brown. The process begins with gently removing the current plants. The roots will be checked for health, as some may still be thriving and could find a new home elsewhere in the garden. With the pots emptied, we'll inspect the soil and make any necessary amendments, ensuring it's rich, well-draining, and primed to support new growth. Choosing new plants for the Hartley pots when considering the replacements, we're looking for plants that can withstand cooler temperatures and still present a bold visual statement. The aim is to strike a balance between form and function. Ideally, the selections will offer a mix of heights, colors, and textures. We'll likely lean towards evergreens once again, but with a twist, perhaps incorporating some dwarf conifers or unique varieties like junipers or boxwoods with a more architectural shape. Adding in some trailing elements will also bring a sense of movement and softness to the composition. Consider using ivy or creeping thyme. These will spill over the edges of the pots, catching the light and adding to the overall appeal. For a bit of contrast, we might include seasonal accents such as ornamental cabbages, which introduce bold purples and greens, or heather, whose blooms can lend a delicate touch to the arrangement. As the new plants are placed, we'll pay close attention to spacing, allowing for adequate room to grow while maintaining a balanced look. The goal is to create an arrangement that looks beautiful now but will also develop over the weeks ahead, with each plant adding its own character to the evolving scene. Preparing the large Austrian pine for installation with the Hartley pots refreshed, it's time to turn our attention to the large Austrian pine. This installation is going to be the focal point of the garden's transformation. The Austrian pine, with its dense foliage and classic silhouette, is a statement piece that commands attention. It adds height and structure, drawing the eye upward and grounding the overall landscape design. Before the installation, it's essential to prepare both the tree and the planting area. The pine has been acclimating to its new environment, ensuring it's ready to thrive once planted. It's been kept in a spot with filtered sunlight to reduce transplant shock, and the root ball has been watered consistently, so it remains moist but not waterlogged. The chosen planting site has been carefully considered for both aesthetic and practical reasons. Austrian pines thrive in well-drained soil with plenty of sunlight, so the spot selected receives ample light throughout the day and has been tested for good drainage. We've also taken into account the tree's mature size, ensuring there will be plenty of room for it to spread its branches in the years to come. To prepare the ground, we'll dig a hole that's about twice the width of the root ball but no deeper than its height. This allows the roots to spread easily and prevents the tree from sinking too deep, which could lead to poor drainage around the root collar. We'll also loosen the soil around the hole to encourage root expansion. Installing the Austrian pine with the hole prepared, the Austrian pine is now ready for installation. We'll carefully remove the tree from its container, taking care not to disturb the roots too much. If the roots are tightly bound, We'll gently tease them apart to encourage outward growth once planted. As we lower the tree into the hole, it's important to make sure the trunk is straight. We'll step back periodically to view the tree from different angles, adjusting as needed to ensure it's perfectly vertical. Once in position, we'll backfill the hole with a mix of the native soil and some added compost to give the tree a nutrient-rich start. After the soil is in place, we'll form a shallow berm around the base of the tree to help retain water. The tree will then receive a thorough watering to settle the soil and eliminate any air pockets. It's crucial that the tree stays well watered during its first few weeks in the ground as it acclimates to its new surroundings. Mulching and final touches. The installation wouldn't be complete without a layer of mulch to finish the look and provide essential benefits for the tree's health. A 2 to 3 inch layer of organic mulch will help retain moisture, regulate soil temperature, and suppress weeds around the base of the pine. We'll make sure to keep the mulch a few inches away from the trunk to prevent rot and ensure proper air circulation. The final step is to check the surrounding area for any last details that need attention. We may add a few ground cover plants around the base of the tree to soften the transition from the mulch to the garden bed. Small touches like these help integrate the new installation seamlessly into the existing landscape, creating a cohesive and harmonious scene. Caring for the new installations with the transformations complete, ongoing care will be the key to maintaining the beauty of the refreshed Hartley pots and the newly installed Austrian pine. Both will require regular watering, especially during dry spells, to keep the roots healthy and the foliage vibrant. The pots may benefit from periodic feeding with a balanced, slow-release fertilizer to encourage steady growth. We'll also keep an eye out for any signs of pests or diseases, addressing issues promptly to prevent damage. Regular trimming will help maintain the shape and prevent the plants from becoming overgrown. The Austrian pine, being a larger and more permanent fixture, will have a different set of care requirements. It should be monitored for signs of transplant stress, such as browning needles or drooping branches, particularly in the weeks following installation. If needed, we can provide some extra support with stakes or guy wires, but ideally, the tree will establish itself firmly without assistance. Anticipating seasonal changes as the months go by, the garden will continue to evolve. The Hartley pots, with their newly installed plants, will reflect the changes in light, temperature, and weather. The selections we made today were chosen with these natural shifts in mind, ensuring that they'll look their best not just now, but throughout the season. We can expect some subtle changes in the color of the foliage as temperatures drop, and this will only add to the beauty of the arrangements. The Austrian pine, on the other hand, will remain a steady and resilient presence. Its evergreen needles will provide year-round color and texture, acting as a strong counterpoint to the more transient elements of the garden. Conclusion: swapping out the evergreens in the Hartley pots and installing a large Austrian pine has brought a new level of vibrancy and structure to the garden. Each element, from the carefully chosen plants to the thoughtful placement of the pine, contributes to a harmonious design that feels organic and intentional. Gardening is a journey filled with continuous learning, challenges, and rewards. By embracing each change and opportunity for renewal, we not only enhance the beauty of our spaces but also cultivate a deeper connection with the natural world. The garden will continue to evolve, and with every new project, we get one step closer to realizing its full potential.